Okay, so we're diving into metaphysical healing today.
Yeah.
An 1891 text, which I got to admit, when you sent it over, I was like,
Really?
metaphysical healing.
Right.
But it's Leander Edmund Whipple.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, he wasn't just some random,
No.
fringe
Not at all.
guy.
Yeah.
He was actually super prominent in this whole movement.
Yeah, he had like a whole structured course on it.
Yeah, and he ran this whole course.
Yeah.
Like this was
It's a big deal.
a thing. What's so fascinating to me is he presents it as a science of being.
Right.
Not like just,
Yeah.
mystical mumbo jumbo.
And shot just. Yeah.
It's like there are these principles, these
It's a
laws of life.
Right.
And if you understand and apply them,
Exactly.
you can actually govern your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
He even claimed to heal
Oh, yeah.
nearly every known form of sickness.
Right.
I mean, that sounds a little out there.
That's a bold claim.
Now, was that typical? Was that just the marketing hype of the day?
I mean, testimonials were definitely big
Right.
back then.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about hundreds of satisfied clients. He name drops professionals, business bigwigs.
Oh, wow.
But, you have to
dead.
wonder,
Right.
were these testimonials cherry-picked?
Right.
Sadly, we don't have access to,
Right.
the original letters or anything.
We can't fact check it.
We can't really fact-check it.
Yeah. Okay, so grain of salt, sure.
Right.
But clearly he was tapping into something.
Definitely.
Like this desire for these
A huge duh.
alternative approaches to health.
Uh-huh.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
This is before
Pre-antibiotics.
antibiotics, before
I didn't really understood
germs
Germs.
and viruses.
Yeah.
Like, people were desperate for
Right.
anything.
anything that might offer some relief.
Yeah, think about
Yeah.
you're living in a time when bloodletting
Oh, yeah.
is still
A common practice.
common practice.
Totally.
You might be a little more open
Right.
to exploring
Yeah.
some alternative ideas,
For sure.
especially if
It's
they
like-
emphasize
yeah.
your own power to heal.
Right.
And that's-
key.
A key element of
Yeah.
Whipple's teaching,
Yeah.
right? You're not just this
Yeah.
passive
A passive victim.
victim.
Yeah. You have agents.
Have agency.
Exactly. By understanding these metaphysical laws,
Take control.
you take control. Okay, I'm starting to see how
Yeah.
this might have appealed to people back then.
Mhm.
But what exactly did
yeah.
this science of being entail? Like,
Right.
what was he actually saying?
So basically, he believed that this spiritual force,
Okay.
mental action, could directly influence physical health.
Okay.
He argued that disharmony,
It's like negative thoughts.
in our thoughts and beliefs
Can actually make you sick.
could manifest as physical disease.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
That's it sounds a little out there
out there.
to modern ears.
Right.
But back then,
This is a time when science was
Yeah.
just beginning to understand the connection between the mind and body.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe he was onto something.
Right.
Even if
Another language.
would the language seem
no, outdated.
a bit outdated now.
Yeah.
What's interesting is
Yeah.
he didn't just preach these ideas.
No.
He created a whole system
There's a whole system.
for teaching them.
Yeah.
Like he had this
A structured course.
structured course and
Yes.
even unpublished notes
For his students.
for his students.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
He really wanted to make sure that people understood this.
He emphasized thoroughness, practical application,
Practical application,
logic even.
logic
Yeah.
in his curriculum.
It wasn't just, airy-fairy
Yeah.
stuff.
So it suggests that he was really trying to present this
He was trying to systematize it.
like
yeah.
a rational, systematized approach
Yeah,
to metaphysical healing.
that's right.
And get this, he used models and charts
Wow.
to represent these
Really?
metaphysical
relationals.
principles.
That's fascinating.
I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
Was that a common teaching tool back then?
Visual aids were becoming more popular in education
Okay.
during that period.
I
Think about the rise of
Yeah.
illustrated textbooks
Yeah.
and scientific diagrams.
Yeah.
So maybe Whipple was
Like tapping into that trend
tapping into that trend
Yeah.
to make his teachings
to legitimize it.
more credible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a scientifically minded era,
Uh-huh.
that makes sense.
Right?
He wanted to
He wanted to elevate it.
elevate it.
Yeah.
But it's not just about healing, right?
No, not just heal.
Whipple claimed that this metaphysical approach
Right.
could be applied
to all sorts of other areas, too.
Education, childcare?
Education, childcare.
Even treating alcoholism.
Alcoholism, it was a way of life.
Wow.
A whole philosophy that could supposedly improve all aspects of human experience.
So if thought can cure a physical ailment, can it also fix alcoholism?
Right.
That's a pretty big leap.
It's a big leap. And to be fair to Whipple, he doesn't go into a ton of detail about these specific applications in this particular text. But it does speak to the ambition of his project. Like, he truly believed that understanding these principles...
Like, this could transform. Not just individual lives, but...
individual lives, society as a whole.
That's a pretty bold claim.
It is a bold claim.
And speaking of bold claims... he charged $100 for this course.
Whoa.
Which back then...
a small fortune.
Was a small fortune.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
That tells us something about the perceived value of this knowledge and the kind of people who could afford to access. This wasn't for...
the common man.
The common man.
Not at all.
Okay.
No.
So we've got this prominent figure in the metaphysical healing movement making grand claims, charging a hefty fee, attracting this select group of students. It all sounds a bit exclusive, wouldn't you say?
It does. It creates an air of mystery. For sure.
That's what makes this deep dive so intriguing.
It's fascinating.
We're piecing together this puzzle from over a century ago, trying to understand how these ideas resonate with people.
Think about this back then.
Right? We can learn.
What can we learn
from them today? I'm hooked.
Good.
Let's dig a little deeper into those claims about the applications.
Let's do it.
Beyond healing. How exactly did Whipple envision using this, science of being to improve education or childcare?
Interesting. Well, that's where things get really interesting. Remember, Whipple emphasized the importance of understanding these laws of life as the key to unlocking your full potential.
Okay, so let's consider education. Maybe he thought that by teaching these principles to children,
to kids,
you could foster their intellectual and moral development.
Interesting.
So instead of just rote memorization, you're cultivating a deeper understanding of the self and the world. It's kind of like...
almost like a holistic education.
Holistic education today, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, think about childcare. Imagine applying these principles to create a nurturing environment where children's emotional and spiritual needs are prioritized
alongside their
physical well-being. It's almost like a precursor to the attachment parenting movement with its focus on creating that strong emotional bond.
The bond between
parent and child.
Of course, we're speculating. But
what's fascinating is how these ideas from over a century ago
echo some of the trends we see.
The trends
in modern parenting.
In parenting
and education.
And education.
So Whipple's methods might seem outdated. But those core principles still resonate
with some of these contemporary approaches to personal growth and well-being. I'm starting to see how exploring these seemingly archaic ideas can actually offer some valuable insights.
It does some insights
into our own beliefs and practices today.
I think that's the beauty of these deep dives. They challenge us to question our assumptions. To look at the past with fresh eyes.
And see the connections between...
and see how things are connected.
These seemingly disparate ideas. And who knows? We might even discover some timeless wisdom. Along the way.
Exactly.
So we've laid the groundwork here. We've got a good foundation.
We've got a grasp on Whipple's core concepts, his bold claims.
We know what he was about.
And the intriguing context of his time. But there's still one big question.
There is one big question.
Looming. Did this science of being actually work?
Yeah.
Did people really experience healing?
Did people get better
through these methods?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And unfortunately,
it's a tough one to answer.
It's difficult to answer definitively.
We only have
people's
word and those anecdotal testimonials to go on.
Right.
We don't have
the kind of rigorous
scientific evidence
that we would demand.
And we would need.
Today.
Yeah, today.
So we can't say for sure whether...
We can't say for sure if...
these metaphysical methods were truly effective.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not the point.
Right.
Maybe the real value lies in... exploring the ideas themselves.
Yeah, exploring the ideas.
And seeing what we can...
learn from them.
What we can learn.
How do these ideas from over a century ago
how do they
resonate with modern wellness practices? What's changed?
Yeah.
And what's surprisingly similar?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, picture this. It's the 1890s.
Okay.
You've got your traditional medicine.
Okay.
You know, a lot of herbal remedies, folk wisdom.
Right.
Especially out in the country.
Okay, but what about the doctors, the more official?
Right. The physicians, they were embracing scientific methods.
Okay.
But their understanding of disease was still kind of developing. You know, practices like bloodletting were still common.
Oh, wow.
And surgeries, let's just say,
not great.
Not as sterile as we would like today.
Right. So you might be a little hesitant?
You might be a little hesitant.
To see a doctor back then.
Yeah, it could be risky.
Right.
And that's exactly why these alternative approaches like homeopathy and even metaphysical healing became so popular.
Right.
People were looking for answers, relief that traditional medicine couldn't always provide.
Okay, so did people see Whipple's ideas as radical or
it was
out there?
Fair.
Or did it kind of fit in with other beliefs about health?
Well, he was definitely pushing the boundaries with this whole idea that thoughts and beliefs could directly influence physical health.
Okay, but he wasn't completely out in left field, right?
Right. Not completely.
Weren't there other emerging scientific ideas? That might have made this seem...
that made it a little more...
Yeah, maybe...
a little more plausible.
Yeah. What about, the growing understanding of the nervous system?
Yeah, the nervous system.
And then its role in regulating bodily functions.
Right. If the nervous system can be influenced by thoughts and emotions, then maybe it's not such a stretch to think that those same thoughts and emotions could
influence health
more broadly.
I see.
And what about hypnosis?
Oh, right.
That was gaining some scientific legitimacy.
Okay, yeah.
Around this time. So
So while his claims might have seemed outlandish to some, they were also tapping into
these currents of intellectual exploration that were happening.
Yeah, at the time.
It's like he was riding this wave of new discoveries.
Absolutely.
About the mind.
And
its potential.
Yeah, and its potential.
Yeah.
And he took it. A step further.
By emphasizing knowledge.
Okay.
And understanding. It wasn't just...
not just blind faith.
Or wishful thinking.
Right.
This was a system.
This was a
science that you could
learn and apply to improve your life.
Okay, that's empowering.
Right.
But how did he explain how these metaphysical principles actually worked?
Yeah.
Did he offer any specific mechanisms or...
Yeah, how did this stuff actually work?
Yeah, how did it work?
Right, well, he didn't go into great detail in this text.
Okay.
But he did touch on some concepts. That might provide some clues.
Okay.
For example, he talked about...
the correspondence between cause and effect in the generation of disease.
Okay, so he's saying there's a direct link.
Yeah.
Between
our thoughts.
Our thoughts and our physical health.
Yeah.
But how does that link work?
Yeah.
What's
the mechanism?
Mechanism?
He doesn't really get that specific.
Okay.
But he does emphasize the importance of understanding the true nature of disease.
What does he mean by that? Yeah.
Well, he seems to be suggesting that disease is not
Not just a physical malfunction.
Okay,
but rather
a manifestation of
disharmony or imbalance in our thoughts and beliefs.
It's almost like he's saying that disease is a symptom.
A symptom
of a deeper spiritual or mental issue.
Spiritual or mental issue.
Okay.
And this aligns with his belief.
Right.
That healing involves
addressing the root cause.
Addressing those underlying mental and spiritual causes of disease.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting the philosophy, but what did his treatment
What did this actually look like?
Actually involve?
Yeah.
What would a session with Whipple look like?
What would it look like?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this source doesn't provide a ton of detail about his specific healing methods.
Okay.
But we can make some educated guesses based on his overall philosophy.
Okay, so if we were to, step into his office...
Yeah, let's go back in time.
Back in 1891. Yeah. What might we expect?
What might we expect? It likely involved some form of mental and spiritual guidance. Okay. Perhaps aimed at helping the patient identify and shift negative thought patterns. Okay. Or beliefs.
So like a precursor to talk therapy?
Almost like a precursor to talk therapy.
Today, yeah. Okay.
Or cognitive behavioral therapy.
Interesting.
And remember, he also talked about using intuition.
And perception in the healing process.
Okay.
So maybe...
That's the energy healing?
Maybe he incorporated elements of what we might call energy healing or psychic healing today.
And what about those models and charts?
Oh, yeah, the models and charts. Yeah. Maybe he used those to help patients understand these abstract concepts, it sounds like.
So it's like this very personalized...
It was very personalized.
Multifaceted.
Yeah, multifaceted approach to healing.
Yeah, but also very structured. Right. With the course.
With the course.
And the notes.
Yeah, the unpublished notes.
It was like he was really...
He's building a system.
Building a system.
Yeah, for transmitting this knowledge.
Right. Empowering
people.
Yeah.
But it was also exclusive. Right. With that $100 price tag.
With that price tag.
It's clearly only accessible.
Only for the select few.
To a select few.
Yeah. And that raises some questions about access.
Access and privilege.
Yeah. Who was included
in this circle of knowledge and who was left out.
Yeah. It makes you wonder about his motivations.
Yeah.
Was it purely about financial gain?
Right. What was he really after?
Or was there a genuine...
Was it to help people?
Desire...
Maybe just...
To help people, but...
Within a limited sphere of influence.
Right.
It's tough to say.
It's a complex...
It's a complex question. Yeah.
And one that we can only speculate about.
Right. We can only speculate.
But it really highlights the complexities...
That does.
That often surround these alternative healing practices.
Absolutely.
Like who benefits.
And
who is left behind.
All right. So we've covered
a lot of ground. A lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've explored the historical context, the philosophical underpinnings.
Yeah, we've got the philosophy.
And even the potential application.
And some potential applications.
Of Whipple's metaphysical...
His methods.
Healing methods.
Yeah.
But there's still one piece of the puzzle.
But one piece is missing.
We haven't fully addressed.
Yeah.
And that's the question.
The question of effectiveness.
Did these methods... actually work?
Did they work?
Did people really experience...
Did people get better?
Healing through these methods?
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And unfortunately...
It's one...
hard to answer.
It's difficult to answer.
Yeah.
Definitively.
We only have
Whipple's word to go on.
His word.
And those anecdotal testimonials.
We don't have rigorous scientific evidence. That we would demand today.
Evidence.
Yeah.
So we can't say for sure.
We can't say
whether it worked.
His methods were effective.
But maybe the real value lies in exploring
the ideas.
The ideas themselves.
Seeing what we can learn.
Seeing what we can learn from them.
Yeah.
How do these ideas from over a century ago...
How do they resonate with modern wellness practices?
Yeah.
What's changed?
And what's...
Surprisingly similar. It's a fascinating question.
You know, it's wild to think that some of these ideas Whipple was talking about back then might have seemed really out there in the 1890s.
Right.
But now they're like pretty mainstream.
That's true. Like when you look at that core principle...
This core principle.
That thoughts and beliefs can influence health.
Yeah.
It's not that far off from...
It's like the placebo effect.
The placebo effect.
Right.
Yeah.
The idea that just believing a treatment will work can actually
have a positive impact.
Right, exactly. And now we've got, like, growing scientific evidence that, like, stress...
Negative emotions.
Yeah, negative emotions.
Even our belief systems can actually contribute to all sorts of physical issues.
To a whole range of physical issues.
Right. And then on the flip side, you've got
mindfulness.
The whole mindfulness movement.
Yeah, the mindfulness movement.
With practices like meditation and yoga.
Meditation, yoga.
Focused on
cultivating a more positive
and balanced
mental state.
Mental state.
Right.
And don't forget about the emphasis on holistic health and wellness.
Holistic health, yeah.
Treating the whole person, not just the whole person.
The symptoms.
Not just the symptoms.
Right.
That's something Whipple was talking about back in the 1890s. Yeah. Way back then.
Crazy.
It's pretty amazing.
So while his methods might seem a little outdated.
A little outdated, sure.
Some of those core principles.
What those core principles
are surprisingly relevant.
Relevant to how we approach health and well-being today.
I know.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time in some ways.
He was ahead of his time.
But we also have to acknowledge the massive advancements
in medicine
since then.
Oh, yeah.
We've got
antibiotics,
vaccines, advanced surgical
techniques.
I mean, things that they couldn't have even...
Whipple couldn't have even dreamt of.
Back then. Yeah. So it's not about ditching modern medicine.
It's not about ditching modern medicine.
And going back to these, not at all.
Older approaches.
It's about recognizing that there are multiple perspectives on health and healing.
Right.
And sometimes those perspectives can work together.
Yeah, like
using mindfulness practices alongside conventional treatment.
Right.
Or using talk therapy.
Yeah.
To address the emotional and psychological factors that might contribute to a physical health issue.
It's all connected. Right. So it's about finding what works.
What works best.
For you, recognizing that there are many paths.
Many paths.
To well-being.
That's what makes...
I think that's what makes this
exploration so
fascinating.
So fascinating.
It challenges us. To think critically.
About our beliefs.
About the connection between...
About that mind-body.
Mind-body, spirit connection.
Yeah, that's right.
And how these beliefs shape our own
approach
to...
well-being.
Yeah.
Even in ways we don't realize. It's like we've traveled back in time, explored a different way of thinking, and returned with a fresh perspective. On our own lives.
On how we live today.
And hopefully with some new questions. To ponder.
And explore.
As we continue our own deep dives into the mysteries of the human experience.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.